What's up, YouTube world? That is Steve. I'm Dave. The Insert Revolution podcast, episode number Forrest? No, not Forrest Gregg. Ray Nitschke, I think, 66. And tonight we'll be talking. We've talked about it a little before. I know it's been in those moments, like usually after a topic, we'll get into some sort of dialogue and discussion about the topic tonight. But is it always necessary to tell the world what you're after? Show your cards, literally and figuratively.
Yes. The short answer is yes. Next topic, Dave. Next topic.
No, I do not. So we'll discuss a little of that and try to keep it to medium to short to medium length one. Well, Steve and I have some things going on, so we will not eclipse that 4-hour mark like last week. Again, don't usually do this. We leave this to other alleged shows. Thank the people from last week. But since Yannick, Bobby, Dr. Exclusive Joe, who else am I forgetting? I know I'm forgetting one.
Well, Carlos and Vinny were here, but they've been here before, so they don't count.
But yeah, for Yannick, Joe, and Bobby to jump on, and Joe to make his overall debut. That's very excited that me reaching out helped, and I talked a little with Joe beforehand because he, again, never had been on. What do I do? What do I do? And I said, it's easy. You're going to be nervous. You're going to probably be shaking a little. I know that's how I was the first time because, again, it's just something you're not used to. But once you get on a few times, the nerves sort of go away. Again, just depends on who's on there, too. I mean, if you got some other guys, I'm guessing for the influencer types, if they have bigger influencers on there, they're nervous. Why, I don't know. But when you got people that are like-minded, it's even if you're at a show meeting somebody for the first time, you're gonna be excited. It's like, I'd say the first day of school. You're exciting. You're just like, oh, I can't believe this. We do this all year, and then we get to meet. So this another avenue to the progression of whenever we can get to a show together, something, and then chat it up. So again, thank you fellas for joining. Very much appreciated.
Well, and on the flip side, it is one of those where if you are truly your genuine self all the time, you're the same person throughout every interaction. Those type of situations, those type of gatherings, those type of scenarios should be very easy, though. Even if it's your first time going on video and being live and having conversations, you can have varying opinions, but at the same time, it's one of those in which it should be very easy to you to have the conversation, to answer questions, to pose questions, to have those interactions. It should be fairly, easy and just like any other type of situation should come very smooth and very, very easy for you. For me and my perspective, I've been doing video calls for a long time, so this was never an issue for me. Going back over a decade ago in the whole YouTube world and making my first videos and things along those lines, yeah, that was a little nerve-wracking. But for whatever reason, going into something like this, it was almost like a smooth and easy transition.
Mm-hmm.
I will say it is nice to be back. I did, miss not being a part of the show last week. Wouldn't have had much to add as my wife comes out here. Now I'm going to be fighting over her while she's talking on the phone. Go figure. It was weird, not being on the show and having conversations and being there, even just to hear the back and forth. Oh, yeah. I still have a bit to watch. I do want to go back and watch it because I'm interested to hear all the comments related to the expo, from firsthand experiences and things along those lines. Of course, I jumped on about the last hour, I think, give or take, which is about when the wrestling conversation started taking place. Not that I've ever watched AEW, but it was kind of interesting to get your take on things with some of the wrestlers, of course, that I know who they are because they moved over from WWE and things along those lines. And I didn't hang out too long in the after show. Actually, I think once we cut live, I'm like, gotta go. Early morning. I was surprised that you guys were still on when I jumped on. So for those who care or give a crap, we were trying to go live with some changes with an application that I manage within the business. And I'm not going to get into deep specifics, but we were trying to transition from a very old, dying technology that was going out of support to something more recent, of course. And it's a web interface that, interacts with our ERP system. But yeah, that the whole thing, and I'm already going to cuss early on, it was a shit show, to say the least. Over 2 hours of absolutely nothing, sitting there twiddling my thumbs. I actually stepped away for a few times and kind of had to show up on my phone briefly so I could listen to something of substance, I guess. That is, if we want to call it that. Is it substance or is it not? Stuff, things, stuff, But yeah, it was a shit show. So they had to roll it back. They did do a dry run on Thursday, and it was successful. So we were actually able to go live this morning. So that's said and done. My day started kind of early. First day back from being off for, 3 days. Hey, better half. Everybody knows surgery was last Thursday. I won't go into great detail. Maybe we can touch on it a little bit later because that kind of was a shit show too. But everything did go well. She is doing much better, of course. For those who were here earlier, everybody heard her talking on the phone as she was talking over me, knowing that, tonight is podcast night. So everything is back to normal, I guess, to a degree. I'm still doing my everything went well. I wish they would have taken her voice box or something, then maybe I wouldn't have to hear her all the time. But no, I'm kidding. I don't have to be nice anymore. I am still taking care of her though. For the first week, it's one of those in which I was told first week all the support that I can provide and do to take care of her. I of course have been doing so. But it's over. It's done with. Yes, I got the haircut finally. Dave needs one. I finally got one. And tomorrow I actually have a doctor's appointment. So go figure. It's been an interesting few days, to say the least. But overdue for a physical. Need to get my levels checked. That type of fun stuff. And not that anybody cares or anybody has noticed, unless you zoom in. I have a very large cyst on the back of my left ear that I'm going to have them check out. So I may get referred to a dermatologist, plastic surgeon. Hell, I don't know. But, it's one of those in which I made a promise to my wife. She get her shit taken care of. She actually go through a surgery that I would go get myself taken care of. So I fulfilled my end of the obligation. Doctor's appointment tomorrow afternoon. So yeah. No, I'm not calling Dr. Pimple Popper. I'm not going that route, even though I probably could. But it's been freaking my wife out for quite some time. So I'm being the good husband. I am fulfilling my promise. So that's the rundown for me. Usually I don't have much for updates, but at least for the last week, it's been a little. It's been interesting.
Hectic to say the least.
But it is nice to be back. I could have used Tuesday night if we would have rolled back sooner. But it's one of those, like I always say, I look forward to Tuesday, hanging out with everybody, the conversations, the laughs, the good conversation. So, and yes, better half. I will keep most people updated once I hear stuff. I mean, it's one of those of which I won't hear anything from my physical and blood work and all that stuff for a while, but I have a feeling I will probably get referred, since it is my primary care physician that I'm going to. So we'll see. So yeah, enough about me. Dave?
I got nothing going on.
We'll leave it at that, Dave. So I know everybody was missing the sponsor last week. Technically, it would have been sponsored by this anyways, because as I was sitting there on a video conference bridge, twiddling my thumbs, listening to a lot of people talk over each other and talk back and forth about what the issues were and what needed to be done, and ping this and make this change and insert this code here. And it's like, yep, I'm going to enjoy me a frosty beverage. So I was drinking. I was with you guys in spirit.
Yeah, I think we had the Mountain Dew, and then I think cherry Pepsi again. So shocking on both accounts. And then Carlos.
Well, I know Carlos had his beer, so I mean there was at least some alcoholic sponsor last week. So yeah. The trend continues.
Yeah. So that was a positive.
Sure.
And we turned back the clock for a lengthy episode. I don't even know the last time we went over 4 hours, but I kept looking. I'm like, the conversation's pretty good. And I know I'm gonna feel it tomorrow. I know I will, but like everything seems to be going well, and just keep on going with it. So broke that 4 hour barrier, and that's been
months,
number of months.
Yep.
Since we've done that. So
yeah, but that has a lot to do with the panel, the interaction in the chat, and the number of people in the panel. Having Bobby and Yannick and Joe there actually on video, it kind of, I won't say it deters from the chat, because normally those guys would be chatting and things along those lines. But when you actually have them on video and they're there having conversations and things along those lines, it actually helps things progress.
Yep.
And, as we always say, good conversations, you lose track of time. You don't even pay attention to how long you're going. And it was a great group of individuals, a lot of great topics surrounding the expo, a lot of good conversations. From what I've seen, I still have, I think, 2 hours, a little over 2 hours to catch up on. But, for the parts that I saw, it ran smooth. The chat was still going fairly strong.
Mm-hmm.
But, like I said, when you actually have them as part of the panel and the discussion, they're not there chatting.
Yep.
So, you get quicker answers, of course, when you actually have them right there on the screen.
Yeah. And that was the thing too. I'd forgotten to do was send Bobby the link because I don't know. I think when Carlos brought it up, something about like Bobby, I'm like, that would have been one to get on there. And so luckily, we could pry him away from all his extracurricular activities and get him on. So that was nice as well. Again, you want to get Carlos will put his videos out as he does. Bobby will put his content out. Yannick and Joe will too, but they're not really vocal in the community. So when you get a chance to hear those voices and hear their perspective, especially Yannick being there for the first time, it's like you want to hear that stuff because again, it's in the same vein. Like, okay, yeah, the national, the expo, it's six of one, half dozen of another, but it's a different experience because you don't have a huge hall or like the Rosemont Horizon. You don't have the IX Center in Cleveland, which is basically just a huge convention center with a big Ferris wheel in the middle of it. You don't have, and I've never been to Atlantic City, so I don't know what it's like there. Anaheim, all those other ones out west and Dallas were long gone before I even thought about going to a national. So you have all that stuff, and you're like, okay, I know what a huge card show should look like, American style. What's it going to be like Canadian style, especially with the new venue. So it's good to get those perspectives because again, you unless you're watching one or two of those other shows, and I don't know how in depth they're going to actually go with it before they get on some other subject of their experiences there, where I want to give viewers that chance to say, hey, how does this sound to me? How's the layout? Again, food, is probably trash. It's going to be worse than like state fair type food by like state fair food of like 30 years ago. And then okay, if you're not doing that food wise, because we like food, where nearby is something decent? I mean, even A&W by the end of the day probably sounds decent. You can get the frosty mug, you can get a good burger. It's like, you're getting A&W, so you're not going to be getting something that's a 5-course meal. But at the same time, do I want to spend $12 on a beer and 14 on a burger and fries that literally they took a hockey puck, sort of melted it down and put it between two buns, called it a burger? Or do I want to go over there where I know it's at least some sort of meat or meat product or meat flavored product and enjoy that? Because again, that's sort of the thing why I like to ask that question. I don't care how much people bring to a show monetarily, but I like to know if they stay within the confines of their budget. Because it's easy to jump out of there and be like, oh man, there's this, and I think a couple of them, Carlos and I think Joe, might have been Yannick, one or the other, said they had to go back to like the ATM or whatever and get some more money, which is fine. But again, when you allow yourself to sort of have that, not freedom, but leeway, where you can be like, okay, I know my budget, but if I've got a couple things I want, if I see those things, I will go, and I've got the ability to dip into the pool a little more and not be under like financial constraints or like dire straits with finances. You're not like, oh shit, I just spent $800 on cards. I'm going to take another grand out, and this is going to really set me back for like 2-3 months. You sort of, when the planning involved comes to fruition, it makes the experience that much more enjoyable, and that's one less thing on your brain when you're sitting there, when you're not counting fives 2 days in. You're like, oh, how am I going to pay for food? What am I going to do for a Lyft or an Uber or whatever? Because I don't know if it's only like PayPal, Venmo, all our stuff at the end of the show, credit card. or you can slip them a 20 like a cab. You used to be able to do it with a cab, cash it out, and so it's nice to hear that because you don't hear a lot of that being said in all these influencers or the bigger shows that garner more viewers. You always hear about the cards being moved, maybe a couple discussions, maybe an after event. You're not hearing about the thought process of certain collectors that have individualized tastes, um, budgets, whatever the case may be, because most every collector is different. So you want to hear, hey, how do you go into a big show like this knowing, not to sound bad, but we usually do on here, at least I do, blow your load. I mean, you don't want to blow your load in the first 2 hours and then just be like, okay, I've got my hotel for the next 3 nights. What am I gonna do? That's always a part where I don't think enough of these big money, big name guys want to come out and say any of this stuff. Where you need to, I won't say survey the situation, because I've heard that a lot too. Oh, wait, just wait on the deals, wait for the deal. You see something that you really like, and it's something numbered, let's say 25 or less. I'm not saying wait. This isn't, again, a Gretzky rookie, a McDavid young gun rookie, a Jack Eichel young gun, whatever the case may be. If something's numbered to 50 even, there's only 50 in the world. If you've been looking for something or something, that's something that catches your eye, try to finagle a deal. And if you can't come to a price where you're like ultra comfortable. Come to where you're something like, okay, taking the consideration of eBay, the fees, the wait time, the possibility of it getting jacked in the mail or just fucking outright jacked. If you can have the card, say 200, I'd like to really pay 150. Would you come at like 175? It's like 180 would be my bottom. Is $5 for you and then 20, 30 for what you feel comfortable to pay really gonna push you away from a deal, especially when it's something super low numbered or something you've been eyeing up or has recently caught your eye that you didn't know about? So it's fun to hear that side of the story and sort of give that advice too, where you see something, don't sit there and pass because it's day one. A lot of other people are probably in that, oh, well, so and so said, no, no. You see something, it's something on your list, mentally, physically, a tangible list, whatever the case may be, don't wait. So it's good to hear all those stories. I'm glad everyone came on and gave us that knowledge, and hopefully people look back and use it as a template, or at least something to garner a little bit of information from when, if they're going to a show and like, man, I haven't been to the expo. Well, let's go. Sports Expo comes up and there it is. Bam. Like, okay, let's watch this or watch parts of it. We'll piece it out, and maybe the first hour and a half. Like, okay, there's a lot of solid information in here. That's of use. And again, we're not going to get the million views. We're not going to have the pandering to the crowd. We're not going to be ripping people off of topic ideas 7 months later. We're not floating heads. We're not all inclusive. We're us. So we're going to give you what we got. Hopefully that's enough. If it's not, so that since Vinny's not here yet, I'm retracting from my soapbox.
Really, Dave? Really? And if you're going to say it right. Soapbox retracted. Come on. Come on.
I just see those 2 words and that's enough.
We got to get the quotes going here. It's one of those in which people can steal from us all they want. It is what it is. That just honestly that just means that we think outside the box. I should say you think outside the box, because I've always said you're the brains behind this outfit. I'm just along for the ride. But it's not just the topics per se. It's also the interactions, the conversations, the questions, the soapboxes, the diatribes, things along those lines that I still always say, puts us apart from the others, because we don't pull punches. We've always claimed to be real people, having real conversations. We're not all about toilet flower cards and unicorns and rainbows. It's the truth. It's the reality. And there's a lot of times in which we have our own opinions, which that's fine. But we at least state them as opinions. We don't claim them as facts. And a lot of the folks that are always here, they bring a lot to the table though too. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to see the differences in dynamics within other live streams and shows and things along those lines. And there's a place for all of us. I prefer our crew. I've always preferred our crew because it's always fun. It's always enjoyable. We can pick at each other, but at the end of the day, we're all still friends. So it's feels like home. It feels like home. I don't know how else to put it, but the extended family.
Yeah. Yeah, it's when you start conforming to the only stuff you see out there, let's say Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, when everything's the positivity express, it's not a reality for anyone. I mean, even as shitty as some of our stuff goes on in our life, you can't sugarcoat the hobby like that, or you'll get swallowed up into nonsense. And that's sort of the theme of like tonight's show too, is we all to a degree know what we collect, especially here. We'll all contact each other. Paul, there's an Oilers card somewhere. Well, hey, look at this. Expo stuff, Yannick, what's going on here? Madano, Jamie Benn, Vintage, Sodist, Carlos, Sodist for Ed, Lemieux for Vinny, amongst 8 million other things. Steve with his various sets that he won't divulge. TD. Well, it's in other Broncos autos, maybe some like a Ricky Natil. Do you have that? I don't know. I think it's something that's cool. But that's when you see that stuff, that's what you think of, and not, oh, I'm going to put this out there and show this off. And it's like, no, well, just you don't take your wallet out every time at the grocery store when you're going down the aisle. Be like, hey, this is how much money I got. At least I don't. I mean, I don't know who else would, but
I do it all the time, Dave. Come on, man. It's all about flaunting, it's that fanny pack flex, man. Come on. It's all about showing the Benjamins and all, how much money you have. I mean, come on.
I get when, because I this was sort of like how I came up with the topic. I know it was one that was sort of on the list of like ideas, but I'm like, I'm gonna go back see what I've posted on Instagram recently, and I'm like, man, there hasn't been much the whole year. I might have 24 posts, maybe a little more. It hasn't been, and a lot of that stuff was right at the beginning of the year, which I'm happy. Thumbs up, thumbs down, or what? I can't hear you because you're on mute. But
I know, but I figured he would sit there and be able to read my lips.
oh, I see.
No new tax.
I
You
never.
good? You're not good. You good? You're not good.
I see what you mean now. See,
Oh, I wish I would have thrown you up right when you done that. Oh boy. Would you like to do that again?
I'm guaranteeing he doesn't want to.
You were so lucky that I didn't click it when I was about to. You'd have been in trouble.
Yeah, I would have been.
How's it going, my friend?
Living a shaved and haircut life. Our best life. Our best life possible, fellas. The best life possible.
Yep. But anyways, didn't mean to interrupt you, Dave. It was one of those because he was looking away earlier, so I didn't know what he was looking at, and I didn't want to just throw him on here and be like, "Oh, hey everybody."
Well, I couldn't get StreamYard to roll on Chrome. I don't know what it kept on going to Safari, and I'm like, no, I don't want you. Safari will not work. Chrome. And I'd open Chrome and Chrome would shut down. And I'm like, and then the better half's calling me every 3 minutes. Why aren't you on yet? I'm like, I have technical difficulties. Give me a minute. I can hear them down there. You're on my other computer. You're on the TV. Give me a minute.
We are on throughout the house.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Let me think on that one for a while.
When you monetize, then it'll be a good thing because you got tons of watch hours. all the Venmo and the PayPal and the shut up Vinnies will be worth it.
Send us money.
Sorry. That's what happens when we go 4 hours now. My brain at the end literally is shooting off sparks and shorting out. I'm like, I just drew a blank. I'm like, go through 4 or 5 of them. I'm like, I don't know. Just send us money. It's easier to. You figure out the way. We'll take it. So, but there's stuff I've got I'd like to share, but at the same time, I don't know, in the end, literally what good it does. That's sort of the position I'm at. Is like I share it with you guys or the group text or anyone that's usually in the room that wants to know, but I don't feel the need unless it's something big or it's a story behind a card that it deserves to be told. Not how I think the foil reflects off the light. If I said that to you at a card show, I hope you'd fucking spinning back fist right in my mouth. Shut up. Nobody cares. You're not a fucking jeweler. Get your jeweler's loop out of your fucking eye. Nobody gives a shit. I don't know if that's part of my just being in a foul state right now, even more so than usual, or what. But I'm just It's not like nobody else can see that. It's like, wow, look at the shine on this card. Well, no shit. Unless you're Ray Charles or Stevie Wonder, everybody else can fucking see. just say that you like the shine. I know Carlos today. Here's a nice acquisition from the show, and then he listed what it was, and then a couple hashtags in there, and then that was it. He didn't ramble and prattle on for 20 minutes about a base card, and because the picture was purple instead of gray or something, we're doing cartwheels and one-handed handstands. It's like it's we all can agree, we all know, hey, this card looks pretty good. You don't need to tell us that it looks pretty good in 4 paragraphs. You can show something off, but every card, it's as the old Jeopardy category, it's the department of redundancy department. It's we know. You don't need to tell us because we already know. And I don't know, it that's the thing with the social media now. It is more so than ever the dick measuring contests. Of course, I'm glad you've got the headphones on. That helps Vinny a lot, especially when I'm talking. That's literally NC-17. Just mute.
I got you, bro.
Appreciation and such. So I get where you can talk to collectors. You don't need to sit there and if nobody else follows me on any of these outlets, I'm fine with it. I haven't even made an acquisition video in how long? I've got tons of stuff, but at the same time, when there's not that strong desire to show anything off, we've said before it's nice to see that stuff, but you guys see me once a week. If folks want to text, they can text. I'm fine with that, but even then too, I know DC was mentioning about that he didn't want to bother me because he'd been mentioning like wrestling stuff. I'm like, it's not that I don't want to text. If I'm not in the mood, it's just, and I know it's been said before, just let us know. Usually I'll throw something in the group chat once a day. I'll text Vinny about cards he's got questions on or certain items or like, hey, this is going off. I'm hoping to win, but I'm sure I'm going to get trucked by 5 times whatever my high bid is. I'll do a little of that, but there's a lot of times when I'm done with work, I'm burnt out for the day. You just sit there and talk all day and you deal with dumbness all day. And it's not because the folks I'm chatting with are dumb or texting are dumb. It's just I don't have the mental break. And that's a lot of the reason too for not posting stuff. I just don't want to deal with questions and hey, what about this? Or because the guy that probably won that one last night, Vinny, messaged me a couple days ago, like, hey, do you want to make a trade? And I'm like, I don't even, I was like, I don't know. What are you looking to trade? And there's stuff that I already have in there. There's a couple I may want, but at the same time, I don't want to sit there and, well, what do you have? I don't even want to look through cards to see what I've got for doubles. So if I can't dedicate like any time or like the necessary drive to make deals, and I want to, but at the same time I don't. That's where it goes to the posting so much Facebook, Instagram, video after video after video on YouTube or TikTok or Twitter content or just sort of manufacturing something to drum up interest or viewership in your direction. It's like I'm I wasn't that way in high school. As an adult, I haven't been that way. I'll do dumb stuff for laughs because I know I can do it, but it's not like I want to be sitting out there and always doing that. That's once in a while is great. Throwing some quotables out there, I love it because I know if I can get Vinny to choke on something and get the inhaler out, that's a victory. V isn't for Vinny. V is for victory. Yeah, it's got to be on standby. So it's always for me. The story's there, great. You don't need to manufacture a story for everything. This isn't like a Dateline, a 2020, like what Inside Edition, 48 hours. It's just if you're not true to the collecting game, I think that's when it's time to cut bait and say, you know what? As much as maybe things were different in the past, what the metamorphosis has become to what you are now, swipe right. Get rid of them. Because again, we all battle stuff in our own lives, in our work lives, our personal lives. We don't need to battle that type of shit in our hobby lives. I know I do more than I should. I think today was the first day I'd watched one of those idiots' videos in a long time. So I wanted to see something in the expo, and listening to Captain Asshat talk to the floating head up in Canada was just a waste of time. Wow, these button cards, hockey collectors like them. No shit, asshole. Go away. I'll push you off into the great abyss. Get out of here with your dumbness. Soapbox retract. Retract soapbox, whatever it is.
Are you sure?
No.
Give it back. Give it back. Let him go.
I got 1 foot off of it.
Dave. We love you, Dave. We do. Most days.
Yeah.
No, all days.
The days that don't end in Y.
That's not true. That's a Kodak moment right there.
Get the
Kodak moment. Let's see. Screen cap. Got it. I got it. I'll have to figure out a way to send that to Vinny and to Meredith.
Can I show my thing now?
Can C show something real quick?
Of course she
Before
can.
she can go to bed.
Pick a number, 1 or 2.
1.
3.
Whoa, 3. Dave says 3.
12.
Okay. It says, you're a freaking awesome goalkeeper. Follow your dreams and goals.
The other one would make sense first.
2 CC, talent is never enough with few
exceptions.
The best players are the hardest workers. Develop a positive attitude and always remember you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. Thank you for all the love, support, CC from Tatenda Makaruva.
So, a little backstory. He's a goalkeeper for the Michigan Stars.
And he gave me his used goalie jersey. It's huge.
So, this is the goalie for the Michigan Stars Nitsa Pro Team.
Hey, I'm supposed to say
Tatenda.
a couple pictures on the bottom where I gave him presents, and on the top you can't see it. On the side, hold on. Dad, you can't see it. Hold on, tropical difficulties. Dad, they can't see the.
I don't want to hang myself with this cord.
Okay, Dad. Okay, hold on. Okay, you can't quite see it, but right here, yeah, now you can see it, is a card to get into the MFC.
That's a ticket.
Ticket.
What they call tickets. So that's a ticket with him on it.
Yep, to get into the games he plays. And this is actually his used jersey.
So she's got a piece of game used autographed memorabilia. So
including a number and a heart.
So that's
Can't forget the heart.
Yep.
Heart.
So she got presented this at halftime at the Michigan Stars DCFC football.
Now wrap
football
me.
game.
I wrap me in a burrito.
Okay. Thank
Burrito.
you.
That's not how you wrap me in a burrito.
Take your things. Say goodnight to the IRP.
I'm gonna go sit now.
Okay. Good night, IRP. Good night, C.
What does RIP mean?
Insert Revolution podcast. Okay.
Go to bed.
Go.
Go to bed.
You're gonna fall. Go. No, C. I can't. Cecilia. Go.
Goodbye.
Take
Good
your
night.
stuff.
No.
Take your stuff.
Can you
Amscray.
help me get it up there?
I'll take it upstairs later on. Go ahead, leave it there.
Okay, take the
I will. I will do that for you.
Bring it back.
Go to bed.
I heard your knuckles Bye.
Good night.
Bye, C.
Gotta love them.
She's been jonesing to do that since Friday or Saturday night when she got that. So he put that together himself. So he's from Zimbabwe and he played for their national team. And then he's been over here for 2 years playing. And he's an awesome dude. Awesome goalie. I don't think she realizes in her head that most kids don't get to be that up close and personal with a pro team, that she's on the field every game. She can walk in their facility and just walk around and nobody questions her. Everybody knows her. Past players that have gone on to other stuff. There was a guy last night. He goes, "Do you remember me?" She's like, "I'm 10. I have a short memory." And I said, "Wait till you're older." And he was he's doing next level training, and he's like, he was the backup goalie for the Stars for a while, and he started working with her tonight. She has that, I don't know, je ne sais quoi about her, that she's like Doris Day and Mary Tyler Moore. They mesmerize you with their smile, and she's just a good-hearted kid. And this guy, just him and her, thick as thieves. So it's cool stuff, man. Cool stuff.
Like I said in my response, some of these pro athletes should take a page out of his book.
Awesome dude.
And really take it to heart that, you know, these kids, you know, look up to them as players, but, you know, at the same time, hopefully they get exposed to them actually as humans, as people. And, you know, not saying that a lot of superstar athletes don't take that into consideration and actually do things for, you know, adoring fans and things along those lines. You see it frequently, and you do. But then there are others that it's like they take it for granted that the kids that follow them and root for them and ask for their, you know, their jerseys or their cards or their memorabilia, you know, that's what they need to remember. And, you know, it sucks for us adults because we can still be mesmerized by a pro athlete and want to be able to have those interactions and get those autographs and things along those lines. But, to a degree, we're frowned upon because it's like, why the hell is a grown ass man trying to, get in here and get an autograph? Their first instinct is, oh, they're just going to turn around and sell it. Well, for those of us that appreciate sports and the players and things along those lines, that's not what it's about. It's never been what it's about, at least from a collector perspective. I can't speak for everybody, but as a collector and enjoying like the sport of football, when I was in my later teens, I used to go to a lot of the Cowboy games and would always get autographs. And it wasn't specifically for me, so to speak, thinking, okay, well, if I have a son or whatever, if they're a Cowboys fan, hey, and start giving them some of that stuff. But it's one of those in which I still remember this. I'll tell a story and then we can get into the topic, Dave, because we really haven't touched on it much so far, and we're already almost an hour into the show, which it is on brand to a degree, but it's been a while since we've done that. So, like Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith, they actually parked underneath Texas Stadium. They never parked in like the player parking lot. Irvin did from time to time, but usually he was down there with Emmitt and Aikman because, everybody wanted Aikman and Emmitt autographs. I mean, let's be real. But I happened to catch Michael Irvin as he was leaving, and I was the only one around him. And I was chit-chatting with him, and I asked him for an autograph, and he took the card, and he was about to sign it. And then all of a sudden, like this freaking mob of people. He's like, no, man, I'm sorry. If I sign yours, I have to sign everybody. And he gave it back to me real quick and like hauled ass and almost ran over my foot.
Yeah.
I was like, thanks, dude. Appreciate you, bro. But, it's one of those in which you can't please everybody. That's not a thing. You can't please everybody in those situations. But you and I are having an interaction. And yes, there was a crap ton of people coming over when they realized who it was.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you still could have signed my stuff and then you could have left. Or you could have been one of those and hung around and signed a few autographs and then, took off. But he was in his car. I'm sure he didn't want his car jacked up and things along those lines with the amount of people that were coming. Because usually you would catch them as they were walking into the stadium. So you weren't like, speaking of Emmitt Smith, that's a nice one. He's got one of the nicest autographs too. Number 25?
No, this one's, I think, 125.
Oh, 125? Oh, okay. Mystique. A lot of big space for them to sign.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just one of those and I was 14 or 15 years old. I wasn't a young kid. But I mean, we were actually having a conversation and we were chit-chatting for 4 or 5 minutes. And during that time, he had the card in his hand, had the Sharpie, and all of a sudden, he's like I said, he saw the mob of people. He's like, "No, man, okay, fine, whatever. It is what it is." I didn't get a Michael Irvin autograph. Never got one after that. But at the same time, I always thought he was a prick, anyways, regardless of that interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he always, to me, came across as, snobby type individual. But put somebody else in that same situation, a younger kid, for instance, maybe 8 or 9 years old, and that same situation happened. And that's the same type of interaction and response that was reciprocated. What that does to a kid whether it be the team, the player, or whatever. I mean, those type of situations can have lasting impacts. And that's what these pro athletes have to remember, which is why, you know, just knowing and hearing about the interactions that C has with Tatenda and the team itself, it's like pro teams, pro athletes need to take a page out of the book of, and I will call them pro athletes. It's not like it's not top tier, it's not MLS,
Yep.
but it's damn near close. You can't get any closer. Take that into consideration. You know, that leaves a lasting impact on a child. And, you know, it's fond memories. So
what people have to remember is inside every 44-year-old dude like myself, there's the 9-year-old that sat there mesmerized by your talent. Absolutely mesmerized, and has spent a better part of his life collecting cardboard pictures of you.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because not only do we enjoy your play, we respect you. We feel like we have a connection to you with all this cardboard. If you can't understand that, there's a problem. I understand your privacy and all that stuff, but probably why Mike Trout's loved and adored is because he's a fan person. He sits there, he signs the autos. He doesn't tell them no. He's in the crowd. He's personable. Those are the people that are gravitated towards. Always have, always will be. Good ball player. Best ball player? Yeah, I don't know. That's everybody's personal opinion. I like him. I think he's a decent ball player. But he's a good human. He hasn't done anything stupid. He remembers that, 44-year-old man, 8-year-old kid, they're both appreciative of his skill, what he does. He's a 30-some-year-old man that gets to play ball for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Take it for what it is. You're getting paid millions of dollars to play a kid's game, as they say. Remember, the fans are what gets you where you go, because in some roundabout way, they pay your salary. Whether it's through merchandise, ticket sales, what have you, that's what helps you. And I know, coming from a small market team like Pittsburgh, especially when the baseball was having its crummy years, we're not in the greatest of states right now, but the baseball players were always cool. Always cool. If I saw them out when I was in college at a club or out at a event, or they came in for an event that we had on campus, they were always cool because they know what it is to be us. They were there, and they don't forget that. Like he says, he tells C all the time, never forget where you come from. Because if you make it here, this up here is going to take you and it's going to shake you and pull you every which way. Remember where you were down here, where no one knew you. Now everybody knows you. Look at Ronaldo and Messi. There's people that have jumped on that field to meet him, and they're trying to kick him out. And Messi and Ronaldo are like, let them have their 5 minutes with me.
Yeah.
They've done all this. They've broken the rules. They're getting kicked out of here. Let them have their moment to shine. And they sign stuff. They give them stuff. And, I've seen that a lot with soccer players. They're very personable. Being around a lot of, even teams that come in to play the Stars. I've talked to them. They've all been cordial, nice, very decently respectful. Fans, but the teams themselves, a majority of the players are very cool. So, and they're almost like it's almost like AAA ball or AA ball. Yes, we're talking soccer. The rare instance, but I think it's a good experience for her. I mean, not too many kids get to do what she does on a weekly basis. Even the better half, when she was on the road for work, she went to one of their games and they were like, "What are you doing here? Where's C?" I'm like, "C's at home." She's like, "C's at home at school with Vinny." It's like, where do you think she is? But to support a team and have them, you know, like they walk out, "Hey, mama." That's one guy, Remy. He always sees the better half and goes, "Hey, mama." And Tatenda always goes, "Hi, mom." That's the kind of relationship we have with these guys. It's pretty darn cool. I'm not walking up to Steve Eiserman when I see him on the street. "What's up, Papa?" That ain't happening. But to have this is pretty neat. So, soapbox retracted.
And that's where I've always said, and I've said it multiple times on here, when I go to wrestling events, I like to have Naomi with me because you get that a lot more with the wrestlers. You get that sort of like, what the hell are you doing here? Well, asshole, when you were popular 25, 30 years ago, how old do you think I was? Was I 40 then? No. 10-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid getting sucked into wrestling, following you for the better part of my life, buying countless DVDs, t-shirts, figures, the like. And that's why I couldn't, as much as I love the honky tonk man, 2 years ago at that Fortune Bania, he was there, and I'm like, everybody has said he's a dick. It's not even like, oh, one isolated incident. We're waiting in line to get Sting. I know I've told this story before. It's not like a broken fucking record, but waiting outside the line, starting to slowly move, and he walks out. I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" His response, "You can't even fucking vocalize how it's going. You give me a grunt, a beleaguered, disgusted grunt, because they're paying you X amount of money to be here, and you can't conjure up some sort of spell to at least bring people over to your table by saying, 'Hey, how's it going? Let me change this perception. That isn't a perception, it's who I am. Let me change that so I can drum up some money.' If nothing else, I wouldn't even care if he's fake, but if you're going to be a cunt, why? I mean, I've long since like even cared to want to meet him because of his personality, because of how he is. And it's not because of, oh man, a fan did this to me or what, it's because of the business. Him losing to the Warrior in 30 seconds or 50 seconds at SummerSlam, losing that IC belt. He's so sour about that. That happened in 1988. 33 years ago, 31 as of 2 years ago. You're so bitter about that. You're bitter about WCW. You don't want to do the job to Mark Miro, aka Johnny B. Bad. So you left WCW in like 91, 92. Everybody in wrestling loses. Everybody. Your win-loss record is very irrelevant in wrestling. Unless they build a program around you like Goldberg when he came on. So to have all that ill will and then channel it to the fans. Channel it, I mean, everywhere. You get it in wrestling, they've got shoot interviews. That's basically one of these, somebody's interviewing them back and forth. Hey, here's some questions. And it's just him dogging and berating and whining and bitching and moaning. I mean, there's so very few positives. It's like, why'd you stay in the business if it was such a fucking thorn in your side?
Because he couldn't actually play the guitar.
Well, that, and I guess Memphis didn't want him as a Elvis impersonator. They took John Goodman instead.
I would have too.
Logical. So that's where I always get nervous, where when you've got the opportunity to meet people you really respect from afar, you hope that they're even half of what you think they're going to be, because there's plenty of times where you meet the people, and if it's their personality, they had a bad day, whatever the case may be, when it's something you're not expecting, or if it's something you are expecting and it happens, you could still be just like, oh, fuck, this sucks. This is Josh Johnson, and he just says nothing. I just be like, oh, well, 6, 7, 4-row boxes, I can just throw them away. That he's going to be like that. I don't need to go up to him with all my gear on and a stupid sign and the posse around me. Hey, this is your number one. No, is that the B Sharps?
That's Big Show.
Was that when you were at the hotel or whatever? And
Yep. And yes, folks, that is legitimate. That is from Dwayne Johnson. That is not some random person who signed that.
well, it's a random person, but he happens to be The Rock.
And I've told that story before. We didn't even ask Rock for an autograph because it's like mega superstar, had a few movies already out. It's like we didn't even ask him. We asked Mark Henry. Mark Henry is from Texas.
Yep.
Southern hospitality.
Yep.
The fucking dude blew us off. Blew us off because we were grown. Well, we were in our mid-20s. But blew us off. And Dwayne Johnson, like, literally gave him the evil eye and was like, seriously? And he's like, hey, give it to me. I'll sign it. I mean, come on, folks. We had been at the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we knew where they were staying. We happened to get lucky. We're cruising home after the show, and we see Jim Ross in a car.
That's where we're going.
With his cowboy hat on. I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, hey, let's follow him.
Yep.
So we did. We camped out in the parking lot for a few minutes. Didn't see anybody. Like, oh, crap, we had nothing for anybody to sign. So we ran to like a 7-Eleven real quick. Bought this. It still got the price tag on it. And we were sitting in his truck, and we saw Big Show walking behind us. I mean, it's very difficult to miss. And he was the first one we saw. He signed it. And we happened to get lucky. Not long after he signed it, we were, as we were walking back to the truck, we saw another car pull up in like the front.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark Henry gets out of the car, and we're like, screw it, let's go. And all of a sudden, here comes Dwayne Johnson getting out of the passenger seat. And we're like, oh, shit. And, Rock was huge at that time. Huge. And it's like, we didn't even ask him. Because it's like, okay, big-time superstar, mega movie star type situation. He'll blow us off. this is, of course, before, you see all the stuff in social media about the type of person that he is, though.
Mm-hmm.
He is one of those that remembers where he came from. He remembers his fans and things along those lines. But that's before it was ever really majorly out there on social media. And the fact that he gave Mark Henry the evil eye, it's like two things. If looks could kill, and you actually wonder what he was thinking in his head about, what can I say to this guy? And even after Rock signed it, he still there was no verbal nothing out of Mark Henry whatsoever. And it's like, dude, you're a dick. You are a dick. So, like I said, I know I've told this story before. It's one of those in which, but like you said, Dave, you grow up. I don't even want to say use the term idolizing them, but looking up to these people or admiring them from afar, and as a fan of wrestling and things along those lines, you don't ever think that you're going to stumble across meeting The Rock, for instance, at a hotel after a show. But it's one of those in which it was a cool experience. My best friend and I still talk about it to this day. If I could, I need to like look through some pictures because he and I both have pictures with Kurt Angle at another hotel. And this one, we actually happened to know where they were staying because his uncle's girlfriend at the time was the manager at the hotel in which they were all staying at. So she was able to get us a room there. We didn't go to the show, but we had a room there. So after the show was over, we were sitting there, hanging out. Oh, look at you. Yeah, but see, you were at places to allow for those to happen. I like that one.
And I think she did that at the Fortune Bania too. Because it said I met you in 2011 at National in Chicago at a convention for sports collectors, and she's like, "What I do for like a picture?" I'm like, you had me in some sort of headlock or some sort of head vice, and she's like, "You want me to do that again?" I'm like, "I don't care, whatever. Doesn't matter to me."
Always know, regardless
But,
of what's
But-
going on with me and my
I've never
husband,
done though.
he
That's
always has my back and he always will. And I'll always be there for me.
in the AEW line for the Rampage on Friday night. We get off or in from the parking garage, and there's two separate entrances. And then who's right there? It's the guy that Mike has known for like 15 years that he wrestled or he refereed with this guy. I think he wrestled a couple times over there in Fargo when he's been coming up. He's not a big name. He wasn't even on like the card there, but he's somebody who gives back to that Fargo area, the Thief River Falls, which is all over in that Red River Valley area. And he's got his, I don't know if it's both or his kids or not, but and he looks at me again. He's like, "The hell are you doing here?" I'm like, "No matter where I go, no matter what time, it could be 4 hours away, I'm running into people I know." And he just starts laughing. He's like, "We're taking a picture. We're sending it to Micah." And I'm like, "That's fine." And so I texted Micah quick. I'm like, "You'll never believe who I bumped into here." And, and he's like, "He just sent me the picture." I'm like, "Yeah, and that's why even if people don't like wrestling as much as they did as a kid and they have kids, I always tell them go to these local shows. Even if these guys aren't huge names now. It is something that's enjoyable. You're up close to this. You might rekindle it might not be your love that you had, but it's like, okay, I remember why I watched this. Your kid might see you enjoy something, which who knows? That might not be something that's normally shown. Who knows? But then it's not costing a couple $100. You're not paying for parking. You're not paying for like arena food. You're paying bingo hall, VFW, high school gymnasium, something like that food prices. Nothing extraordinarily exorbitant. And it might be like $20, $30. You don't have to do it every week. But maybe they'll draw somebody in that's like a name that you remember. Maybe a Billy Gunn somehow shows up there, or Brutus the Barber Beefcake, or whoever the case may be. It's something to get kids close to the action. It's something that's fun. And a lot of those relationships, which we go on about here and talk about, they're people that when you see them, you'll talk to them again. Down the road, most of the time, folks remember you. I know Eric Cannon, when I saw him in Fargo, it's like, hey man, what's going on? I'm like, not much. How you been? How's everything going? And talked for a few minutes there, and that was good. And I said, hey, if you don't want to know if you're going to be on AEW, if you are, I wish you the best of luck. He's like, you're going to be there? I'm like, yep. He's like, if I see you, make sure I'll look. Again, like, you're not going to see me from where we're at, but again, I'm going to be more excited than people would think for a guy that's basically a regional talent. So it's fun. The guy that I've said before that was in, what was it, Logan or whatever, the one with Wolverine that I've said put his hand through like the bottom of his jaw and the claws come out the top of his head. That guy, he and his son wrestle. They've wrestled in like the NWA, with the current day NWA. He's wrestled singularly or whatever over in Massachusetts, Maryland, the East Coast. They both wrestle down. He's got a promotion in just north of New Orleans. They ate dinner with us at that after the last Fortune Mania. They came and joined our table with my mom and Naomi and I. And we were just talking there, and again, they're just interacting with my mom. All she knows about wrestling is that I've watched it forever. She'll know Hulk Hogan. She'll know Baron von Raschke, Vern Gagne, the Bruiser, and the Crusher, because that's what my grandpa watched back then. Other than that, she's like, I just tuned it out when it was on because I knew you liked it. That was it. And so for Naomi to have that, it's like you've built into her. You can have that. These are guys you can interact with. It's a different person than you see out there, but even if they don't high five you if they're playing the heel, they're genuine people too. I mean, if he could have got Super Crazy over there, I would have probably marked out. Because I love the old ECW, and Super Crazy was one of my favorites, but he was eating alone. And I don't speak Espanol, so that wasn't gonna help. But just to have those moments, again, it's something pretty much irrelevant in everyone else's life, but it's gonna stick with me forever. And eventually, that's where I'd like to go down to one of those shows in the New Orleans area, show up there just to see his reaction. Because we've talked about that. We've messaged. I said, man, I want to get down there after all this COVID shit breaks. I think there's a World War II museum down there in New Orleans. I want to go. Trista wants to go. It's like, that's something that's, I hate saying it, but on the bucket list.
Well, if you ever make it over there, I may force myself to make the drive.
Well, I hope so. I mean, unless we all convene in the southern metro of the DFW area at the ranch, that's about as close as we're going to get.
No, I think I'd rather make the drive to New Orleans.
So would I.
It's still a hike. from where I am, but still doable.
Biloxi is close. Better half if you're still watching, because it's like an hour from Biloxi where we used to go here and there, and I love it. We always used to fly into New Orleans because that's the closest airport, and yeah.
Yeah, that's the only reason I want to visit over that way. There's a guy though, the head meteorologist at in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. James Spann, ABC 3340. I've said it before. I'll say it again. There's the outbreak. I think was it 2011? I think down there in April. They still have it on YouTube under their the ABC 3340 page or whatever. Like I think 6.5 or 7 hours, and then like another 7 or 8 hours of the coverage. Because I mean, 3:34 a.m. tornadoes coming through. Sort of cleared up a little bit in the afternoon, and then right away, 1-ish, 1:30, start moving in from Mississippi over. So just his ability to convey the seriousness of the situation and never be tongue-tied for words, or and I mean, he knew where every city was, every county. He didn't even have to look at like a map. He's like, here, here, here. I want to meet him. I love weather. That's another one of my nerd things. I love weather. I'm usually telling Steve, say, hey, get some weather moving in. I don't know where you're exactly at, but it's in the vicinity. And so that's something I've always loved. I've said before many a time, either on my channel or on here. When we got the weather channel, we moved to Superior in like 92 when it came on. Hooked immediately. Hurricane coverage, blizzard coverage, tornado outbreaks. I mean, just any of that stuff. Like I said, if I die chasing a storm, that won't bother me. That'll be something that I'll do. What I always have. One of the things I've always dreamt of is see a tornado and be like, holy fuck, that's amazing. Because northern Minnesota, you don't see it. Texas, you're more apt to seeing them down there. So it's got to be probably in the plains, because the stuff over in Alabama, more hilly, more woody. It's a wood area, lots of trees. So you're not going to see. You look in the distance and you can see it in the plains. It's like, okay, I see it. I don't want to be close to like the El Reno, where people are like, oh crap, it's coming back towards us. That's a troublesome situation. But I mean, I want to feel the pressure drop. I want to feel that wind just accelerate and pick up. So
it's an ominous feeling, Dave. It's an ominous feeling, man. And that's
got a couple pairs of shorts, I know.
That's the only word that I can give you. And with as long as what I've lived in North Texas, I've only felt it once. And the only reason why I felt it is because one dropped about 10 miles from where I lived, but
okay.
you still felt it. It's the weirdest feeling in the world. And like I said, I can't put it in words. I can't explain it, but it is a very ominous feeling.
Yeah, you said so.
So that would be one of the other reasons to get down there. See if we can trek over that way, and I don't know. I don't think he's sitting on there signing autographs or taking pictures, but it'd be fun to go over there and be like, I've watched this 6-hour and 7-hour footage. I don't even know how many times. I mean, when I'm bored and I'm just like, you know what? I know what happens, but you get the tower cams, you get what are they, the interstate cameras or whatever, showing some of those funnels and the tornadoes. It's like it's just it's background noise, but you also get sucked into it. And then try some of that Cajun food down there, some authentic Cajun food. No shrimp though. I guess it's gonna be something I can't. I don't know how much I want to dig into that. I'll take other stuff, but shrimp, seafood. I'm on the outside looking in on that. If I want something, I'm going to, like we've said, over to Maine, fresh caught lobster, lots of butter, like 10 pounds of butter.
Never fails.
All right, well,
Somehow, shape, form, or
I will
fashion,
talk to you later.
food comes into the subject multiple times. Go figure.
I will.
Catfish on Dewey's sausage. The food down, it's good. As you can tell by my great physique. Whoa, Stove.
What's going on, Mark? Yeah, that catfish will go, and Dewey sausage I will definitely gorge myself with. But yeah, that's why I sort of harken back always to the wrestling aspect. Once they make it big, you never know if that's going to change them. That's why you hit them when they're on the independent circuit. They're at the bingo hall. They're at the VFW. It is some sort of fundraiser for like a gym or a boys and girls club or something like that. And usually people for those are on their best behavior. Just because again you're trying to drum up money. That's what you want to do. And then that'll tell the promoter you want to be back or whatever. And I don't know. Long-winded rants that are just cycling away from the subject, but that's all right.
So let's see. What all have we talked about this evening? Oh, not the topic. The question is, though, you did dip your toes into it. I answered it early on, but of course I was being facetious because that's what I do. It may be one of those in which we'll have to rehash this one because we talked about earlier, trying to keep the show a little bit shorter, and I think this one can go longer than 30 minutes or an hour, honestly, especially with Vinny being here. We may want to rehash that one next week. So I'm just going to go and call it. For those who are watching, we didn't talk about the topic really a whole lot, and we probably won't. Dave's got an early start, of course, in the morning. I don't have an early start, but I have stuff I got to get taken care of before I go to my doctor's appointment. We'll have to rehash the topic because I do have my opinions, of course. I'm sure Vinny has his. I'm sure you have even deeper opinions than what you kind of touched on. So when this uploads, Dave, we may want to change the title just so people don't come in to expect the topic and they're like, yeah, they didn't talk about that.
Well,
we want to be.
Since we did the old Hey, we're talking about this tonight. Nope. We're going to talk about it next week. Nope. The third week, yeah, we basically did it.
Yeah,
So,
but we're a little bit more refined now. It's one of those in which, try and
but
be
like,
transparent. We don't want to draw people in that, they want to really hear our take on that topic, and we don't even talk about it. I don't think that's right. Just thought I'd throw that out there. It is on brand to a certain degree, but that's the old brand. This is the new brand. We usually touch on the subject. And since we're keeping it a little bit shorter tonight, figured if anything, we can just see where the rest of the conversation goes, and we can rehash this one next week. I was actually quite surprised that you didn't do a thankful video or what we're thankful for.
we'll go here. We'll do that then. We'll wrap it up. We'll go Thanksgiving plans. Anything Black Friday that's catching your eye. And then what are you thankful for? I mean, it's not going to be lengthy, I'm sure, on either end or any of the ends, but that should draw out the clock.
It should. So, Vinny, we'll start with you. Hopefully you were listening and paying attention, because you
don't do that sometimes.
Didn't seem like you were. Squirrel.
No, it might be dogs. 3 dogs.
Tap, 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 tap. Dogs. Tap.
So you have the floor, soapbox provided. Thanksgiving plans, anything Black Friday. What are you thankful for? And before you start, anybody who wants to throw anything in the chat, by all means, throw it in there. We'll make sure we cover it as well. So same questions go to all of you folks in the U.S. So south of the border, south of the northern border. For all you Canadian folks, of course, doesn't really apply to you. However, you may shop for Black Friday deals potentially, because you know about it, and you can still shop them from up north, I'm guessing. Maybe, I don't know. I'd be interested to find out. But at least on the flip side, you can at least talk about what you're thankful for, even though you guys have already had your Thanksgiving. But by all means, interested to hear everybody else's as well. So with that, Benny, now soapbox provided.
Gracias. Our plans kind of got shot down. What we were going to do, we were going to go see my folks and my brothers in Pennsylvania, but circumstances caused that not to occur. So we're going to be having Thanksgiving breakfast at our house, because everybody else is already had plans. So rather than my other children to cause issues, I know, Ghost, you're happy that we'll be home, so you could torment me. But so we're gonna have breakfast here. Our other kids have plans throughout the rest of the day, so my oldest two will be on to their things after we have breakfast. So that'll be my Thanksgiving. Black Friday, haven't seen anything yet.
I was going to say, is there any way I can mute the dogs?
Throw a treat in their mouth. That's the only way to mute them, Steve.
Yeah, but that only lasts a few minutes.
Well, I only need a few. Black Friday, haven't seen anything yet. I'm sure we'll go get the newspaper and the Slurpee, as in tradition, on Friday morning or Thursday morning. See what the newspaper, old school way, and then check the websites and all that stuff. Now you got to remember Cyber Monday now, because they throw out more deals for that too.
Yep.
So we got that. So we'll find more about that Thursday. I'm sure Amazon will have some stuff. Alexa's already told me that my pages and binders are on sale, so I need to order more of those. So
no. Yes.
Anyhow, and thankful.
Stocking
Thank you.
stuffers, Meredith. Stocking stuffers.
That's a big stocking, man.
Point being,
Yes. And thankful for my family. The usual stuff, but I love my family. They're good people. Yeah, thank you, better half. You know, the sentimental person that you are. She's like the Grinch that stole every holiday other than like Sweetest Day, which is a made-up holiday, and Halloween. Other than that, she steals all the holidays. Anyhow, yeah, that. Thank you. I try. I achieve. Like my granny said, find something you're good at, Vinny, and do it to the best of your ability. I'm very good at doing that, so I do it to the best of my ability. Thanks, Granny. Anyhow, then thankful for you guys. I'm glad episode 66, Mario Lemieux, by the way, other than Ray Nitschke, that I get to spend time with my friends every Tuesday night. More than friends. This is like a family here. And it's how I set my week. It's you guys. We all get to hang out, have some fun, and you guys get to listen to 3 barking dogs when I go on dog duty at about 10 o'clock on Tuesdays. And, you know, I appreciate you. What more can I say?
wow, better half. Jeez. Much love, Meredith. Much love.
Yeah.
I guess you're gonna. I guess you're wanting me to go next, right, Dave?
I do.
Thanks. Leave it to Carlos. So, Thanksgiving plans. So, of course, since wife is still technically recovering from surgery, we are not hosting Thanksgiving at the house. Thank goodness. So we got out of cooking this year, which is always a plus. We are going to the next door neighbors for Thanksgiving at noon. So that should be fun. And the food will be great. Hopefully everybody picked up on that. So originally the plans were supposed to be we were going to try and do like a community Thanksgiving until my wife's favorite person next door decided to show her ass, and that kind of like nixed the whole thing. But she kind of backed us into a corner to be there for Thanksgiving. So we'll at least be there for a short amount of time, and then we're actually going to the neighbors across the street later on in the day and actually eating good food with them and enjoying some cocktails and conversation and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's the Thursday plans. First year that I'm actually not getting together with my family, which is different. But, ever since my mom passed away 2 years ago, things are kind of different. My sister is having my stepdad over, so he's at least going to be able to spend time with family, which is good. Depending on when they decide to do their thing, I may try and get over there and at least go by and visit for a little bit, depending on timing. Timing is everything in that situation. Black Friday deals, I don't give a shit. Honestly, I don't. I see the ads, I pay attention. There's a lot of good things out there, but my wife does all the Christmas shopping, so it's like, not to mention we really don't exchange stuff. At least the wife and I don't, for the most part. However, I'm sure she's conniving somehow, shape, form, or fashion with better half. Now that they have phone numbers, don't know what to think about that. I do have concerns, but at the same time, budget is still somewhat fairly limited from that perspective. So I wouldn't be expecting a whole lot out of that situation. But I can only imagine what they're both saying about Vinny and I. So
I'm well aware what's said about me.
Yeah, well, like I said, I can only imagine what my wife says about me. But then again, I digress. So, like I said, Cyber Monday, Black Friday, I really don't care. I mean, I don't. My wife used to live for going on Black Friday and all that kind of stuff. Prove what? Vinny can prove it. All he has to do is go take your phone. Better yet, I can go take my wife's phone and I'll go look at the text messages. We can prove it. What am I thankful for? My wife's health. Now that surgery is done, I am thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my neighbors and my friends in the neighborhood who have been there to support me during that very stressful time. Neighbor across the street, they're kind of like our adoptive parents almost. Uh, they're the ones we go to vacation with every year.
Mm-hmm.
She actually was there with me at the hospital. She kind of finagled her way in because technically there should have been only one person in the waiting room for day surgery, but she was able to convince them that I needed an additional support, which made things a lot easier for me because I was stressing like a MFer more than anybody knows. Because I have a way to keep things to myself, but I'm sure those who know me pretty well knew I was probably flipping my shit. But I am thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my neighbors. Like I said, they've been there to support us through this and been very helpful from that standpoint. And I'm thankful for my card family. Tuesday nights, like I say, I look forward to it. I enjoy the group chats. I enjoy the side conversations with a multitude of all of you. Uh, the new people who have come into the extended IRP family. Uh, we're here because of you guys. Uh, I'm thankful for Dave convincing me to do this. Um, I was a little apprehensive early on, but it's turned out to be something that is very cathartic, very enjoyable. Uh, Allowed me the opportunity to meet additional people and kind of grow the inner circle, so to speak. So I am thankful from that perspective, and to Vinny and his family. Uh, don't take this the wrong way, or anybody else, but I talk to Vinny more than I talk to anybody else. Uh, he's become one of my closest friends, my sounding board. Uh, so this has been a very rewarding year, to say the least. We've been doing this a little over a year, and I never pictured or imagined that it would ever turn out to be what it has. And I only hope that we can continue to grow it and welcome more people into the IRP family. Uh, so yeah, back to you, Dave.
Thanksgiving plans. I will be making, it's like a bacon wrapped chicken breast with, I think, jalapeno, pepper jack cheese in the middle, couple of those, some pancit noodles, like the Philippine style stuff that I love so much, the hot ones, and then there's some boxed mac and cheese, like the Kraft, the fancy kind. But I'm not. It's odd. Well, because I talk a lot about like the relationships. Ma usually works because it's extra pay bump. She's always worked Thursdays, so wouldn't be going there for anything. I got to work. I used to take the Friday, Saturday off. It's like, why at work? Do it now, because again, I'll get to the Black Friday stuff in a minute, but I like that downtime. I wish Trista and I could do something. I think she's going over to her parents. I don't know if her kid's coming up from Duluth to join them. I don't know if they got work or not, but um, that's usually I excuse myself from that situation because I know that's just one where we will never see eye to eye ever for anything, just because of previous instances. When it sucks. Maybe one day something will change, but you got two strong-headed individuals that have memories of things. Like, okay, well, that's a
Well, they don't.
just let them have their family time and do whatever over there, and they like to be part of it. Yeah, at the same time, I also like just sort of the putting it in neutral for the day. At a grocery store, food holidays suck. So you're getting how many more people in there loading up carts with everything under the sun, which is fine, but that's the last thing you want to do is go around more people and more food trying to figure stuff out and be like, I really don't give a shit. Just put something on a table, I'll fucking eat it. I don't want to hear what you want. Just do it. Nike, just do it. And I usually make something different around or for Thanksgiving anyway. Before I've made fajitas, I've made the dry ramen where I take the picante chicken, you just drain the noodles and then put the ramen stuff on there, and it's great. I love it. So I might do that instead. I don't know, but I don't mind turkey, but stuffing, give me a dollop, I'm good. Whole cranberries, a dollop, I'm good. Pumpkin pie, maybe. Sweet potato stuff that can all go in the garbage disposal. That's all disgusting. Green bean casserole, a little bit. Again, there's just nothing that's like a super appealing for the holiday that's traditional that I care for. I mean, people can, oh, I have this, I have that recipe, I have this recipe. I know. If I'm making turkey, it's usually a turkey breast where put the paprika on there to make sure you brown it a little more and some Cajun type stuff on top because I want some zing. Everything has to have a kick. So do that. Same thing as Vinny. Ma will call up and be like, hey, I got a couple papers here or whatever. You want them? I'll probably go over there. I like, again, like the old wish book from either Sears or J.C. Penney. Physical stuff in front of me to look at. I hate, even if I had a computer, I hated doing that. Searching through and fucking around. No, just give me an ad. Give me a flyer. That's all I want. Black Friday, like I said last week, the only thing that was of real interest to me was the AEW DVDs being half off. That's so going from like 24, 25 bucks, like about $12.50 for the stuff that they've put out over the last couple years. That's going to be something where I load up. I already got one thing. DC and I were talking about that. So that'll be coming in. I don't know when. I have no idea. I think it's shipped out today. So, and I don't even know if that was a Black Friday deal per se. But it's going to add to the DVD collection by about like 18 times. So, but otherwise, I don't know what else is out there. I don't like searching for that stuff. I really, that's the only time I like when Facebook picks up on the ads. The ads pick up on your like search histories and stuff like that. Card stuff will come up or whatever will come up, but I don't care about. Blowout used to have like a daily thing, I think, leading up to Black Friday. Then a few things there. Whatever I haven't got off of basically Naomi's list. I'm hoping one of the games is at least marked down a little bit. That stupid Pokemon Go Eevee one or whatever. There's a couple other things I just bought. I got some stuff down at Costco when we were in the cities. She wanted like the plush blankets, like the big something you put on your bed. So I got two huge, like the king size ones for like $13 each. I'm like, okay, that's if I see another good deal like that, good deals only. Definitely pick those up because again, I might want one. Who knows? But yeah, I gotta look for art supplies and a lamp for an art desk. So I gotta find something that like probably clamps on the side and has like the giraffe bendy type neck. So those are about the only things I really am looking for. But then I always look for the other Nintendo Switch games if there's something cheaper and stuff of that ilk. But I'm super picky because I'm like I don't want to spend money to spend it, and then get more shit that she's not going to use. So we've already got enough of that. So nothing, Eric. Nothing at all. Literally shooting the shit. And what am I thankful for? Thankful for food. Chicken sandwiches. Delicious pizzas. So Steve can rag on me again about the various holidays and the peanut butter cups. I still have some, Steve, don't worry. Chips, can't forget my friend Chips. Trista for loving me with all my flaws and being there with all that. That would be 0 then, Carlos. Listening to me when I go on my tangents. Daughter most of the time. There's times when she needs to be macho man. I need to be the honky tonk man, and she needs to get the shake, rattle, and roll played on her head with the guitar. That she is truly my daughter with some of her verbiage. So you guys, when I've got issues, it's very rare that I will bring them forth. You guys are there for me. I don't know if I'm thankful for the hobby there, Ty. Bits and pieces of the hobby I'm thankful for. The sudden and dramatic uptick in price increases, I'm not thankful for that because that stuff's like an RKO. That's come out of nowhere. I'm thankful that I've got multiple hobbies where right now with cards, I'm very, if I can't get a couple tonight, which again, we don't win them all. When you get throat punched 9 times out of 10, though, it's like, you know what? I've got other stuff that I've got lists of that I can start piecing together collections there. again, they're not going to be as valuable like the Ring of Honor DVD stuff or the. I've got a few old WWF VHS which I still need to pick up, but I can do that. Still have an eye on a couple things, and if they're within reason, go for them. If not, just pass. But I don't know. Thankful for that too. As Steve gets beaten up. Where were you last week? You were here, Dopey. When we talked about the AEW, but no, I'm getting throw punched on some bro dirt pricing. It's been strong isn't even the word. The one that yesterday sold. I think I shared with everyone. I was just in a state of flummox with how much that sold for. So I don't know. We'll see if some stuff pops up again. If not, well, as we've also said, we've had our opportunities. That card was sitting up for a long time. This isn't like, oh my God, it was up for 2 hours, 2 minutes, 2 seconds. It's been up for quite a while, and if I have to pay that much, I won't have that card in my collection because that's not a card that's that much. But so no comment, Ty. No comment. That's why they make Advil. So yeah.
Advil, are you sure you don't need anything stronger? Got some 800 milligram ibuprofen.
So yeah, but Trista, that's the person I'm most thankful for, and I know she used to watch more of this. I don't know how much she watches now. She's sometimes one of those viewers that's on there, but will never say anything. But without her, that'd be struggle bus central. That I'm sure she'd say the same about me, but without her, that she is my rock. We deal with a lot of the same shit and can bounce. It's fun to bounce something off of somebody and not have it turn into an argument, turn into like let's dig up the past, let's fucking how much dirt you can fling at somebody else and try to get some sort of reaction out of them. So I don't know. It's there's a lot of times I respond to some of her questions because of where I was at years ago and where those questions, what they implied or what the implication was. Like, hey, so what'd you do today? I hear it that way instead of well, how was your day? So it's nice with her where she doesn't. If she hears that tone in my voice, she doesn't jump down my throat, pissy about something. It's like, no, I was just asking that. So it's a hard habit to break. As our good friends from Chicago once sang about, it is a hard habit to break. When you hear something over and over and over, you become accustomed to a specific response or a specific retort to said question, or you know where something's going, but it's different with her. So I do appreciate her in the non-fanny pack flex form. Soapbox retract.
Not needed. Not needed, Dave.
Well, so we're just about 2 hours.
We made it to 2 hours. So it will give you ample time to focus on a few things that end at some point this evening. Not going to go into specifics. Because that could go actually into the topic, and we won't do that since, we'll change the we'll change this one and we'll focus on that topic next week. For sure. Because I know we have our opinions on that. Very much
Or
so.
the next week. Potato.
No, this one was different. It's one of those in which I wasn't here last week, even though I popped in on like the last hour. I had a lot of crap that had gone on since the last show, so it's one of those in which we spent a lot of time on that. So it kind of opened the door to allow for deviation away from really discussing the topic, and knowing that Dave has a lot of stuff on his mind, knowing that he's got an early day tomorrow and things along those lines. It's one of those I didn't want us to circle back and then start discussing the topic and have it go longer than anticipated. So, and of course, he goes off video when I was trying to give him a way to close us down for the evening. But then again, leave it to Dave. Sometimes his timing is not the best. But on the flip side, it is on brand, so to speak. There is no question about that. We usually stay on brand. Chew faster, Dave. Or then again, he may have had to excuse himself. So for those joining late, we did not touch on the topic today. We will rehash it next week. That is a promise. Mark my words. 9:13 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will discuss the topic next week. So we will be kind of changing the details of this one just so people don't expect to come in and watch it and realize that we really didn't touch on it much. And now, of course, Vinny's going to leave. So now I'm here, sitting here talking to a screen with a door and a chair and Dave not on video. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you much.
I'm back.
I'm going to retract my statement of being thankful for the two of you. I'm just kidding. Dave, where'd you go? Come back. Because I sure the hell I'm not going to close the show. That's for damn sure. That's his job.
Yeah, and I only close the show.
Do you only do what?
I said I only close the show if he's not here. I did it once, and that was a monumental task asked of me to step in the shoes of one Dave Archer.
Yeah, you're welcome. But then again, I can do that. I know you didn't like it. I put you on the spot, but you did all right. You did all right. No complaints from anybody.
No.
I still like the one from last week, though. Dave really did miss an opportunity.
Carlos.
Excuse me for
Hold the reset button for 3 minutes, Carlos. That usually works pretty well. Hi, everybody. Here, listen to the crazy dog bark.
Okay, so Dave, you unmuted yourself. You can come back on video. You can close us down.
So this is true. It's like the old Nintendo games. Blow into the game. Hopefully it works.
If not, rinse and repeat.
Try again. So I'll ask this before we go. Anything come in? Anything on the horizon, card wise?
I haven't even bothered to look. I still have the one that I showed you guys that I'm waiting, of course, until December, because it'll be November pickup. I still need to make a video of the last 4 months because nobody else has seen these yet. Well, a few of you have seen them, but not completely. But yeah, I still need to get a video made. I'm slacking. I need to post some stuff on Instagram, just random, but I'm slacking. But yeah, nothing on the horizon. I haven't really paid attention much to anything. I've looked at a few things, but like I said, coming into the holidays, stuff slows down big time because it's all about taking care of the kids for Christmas. So
You know, Vinny has his cornucopia of odds and ends trickling in.
Yes. My dollar bid strategy has worked out quite nicely. It's like bid $1, let it sit there and forget about it. And then all of a sudden, you won. It's in the card. But the vein stuff that hit over the last, say, 3 weeks, that stuff's starting to trickle in from across the lands. So Instagram will be hopefully in a couple days get back to Instagramming, since it hasn't been one of my top priorities as of late, since I've been putting cards in pages, which has taken most of my extracurricular activity time to do that, so I can get some sets together and actually have them in binders and get them out of boxes and get the boxes where they should be and everything in line, so the better half's a happier better half.
Seems to be a list of some sort. That might be upset.
that's all set stuff. You said I've never divulged, so I it's here's one side, here's the other, here's another one, here's another. So Dave, if you want to know, you just have to sit there and figure out a way to go back and watch this and pause it and figure out what they are. Now you can't say I haven't divulged, because technically I just did.
Days are reverse bobblehead mode.
I got that.
I've got that.
It was dirt cheap on one of the Facebook groups, some sort of.
Oh, that's cool.
That's where we need Bobby, of course. Some sort of oddball trinket thing, and I will show it because I put a best offer on it because these are ones I really do enjoy, and I've said that before. But
is that to 40?
Yeah. So DiPietro, Felix Potvin with Boston, and then Brodeur. So That one was, I won't say cheap, but I think it was about $30.
Not
And
bad.
that was buy it now, best offer, and I threw something on there and trying to do that quickly because they seem to be going quicker and quicker. I don't know. Other countries are getting COVID money, or they're going to more wakes and stealing from the people in the caskets, or what, but money is starting to flow elsewhere.
Harvesting kidneys, allegedly.
Yeah, they're listing tests there. Because some of these prices, I know I've showed Vinny 2 of them. Showed the group the other one today. It's like there are some. It's not even strong anymore. Those are just out and out lunacy with the bid numbers. I'm like, so some of these cards where you hope to get something in, it's like, wow. And I know I'm probably in for Rude Awakening soon too, but I know a number in my mind for the one I showed you, Vinny. That was about a week ago. That one. There's another one where I got the autograph version not too long ago at a pretty high price, and that's going off tonight too. And I'm like, if we bat 500, that's great. The one I showed you, that's the one that I've got a baseline, but that was also about a year and a half ago with Wah. So like that changed.
I'm happy to bat 250 these days, if that.
Colgate Stamps, Ron Anderson. I don't know if he played for the Kings or if that's just the color of. It's a purple and yellow. Because I don't think they would have been the Seals then. But and then I'll show. Guy had a bunch of these up. And I like the set, but at the same time, I didn't want to. I've already got, I think, 2 or 3 of the North cuts. I don't know if I got Collins and Abreu, but this is a guy. This is why I don't prospect anymore. I thought this guy was going to be something useful for Houston, and he wasn't at all, even close. But it's the legacy to 20. I know you can't see the home run numbers, but for 98, he had 14, and then in 99 had maybe double A Michigan or single A Michigan. 38 homers, 131 RBIs. So off the minor league numbers, I was like, oh, maybe I'll give this guy a try, and ended up with a decent little collection, but never panned out, which not a shock. Yeah, one of the Facebook groups was like $4, $3, somewhere in there. I was like, well, grading alone is how much? Plus it's a 9, so that's worth at least 5 for me. So
Get C back here, she could dance along to the music in our heads. Or the voices.
Probably the voices, at least these days.
This is true.
So, with that, thank you all for jumping in, chatting tonight. Like we've mentioned a million times previous, it helps. It helps a ton to pick from the ideas said in there. Maybe turn the car a little, go down a path that you guys all talk about. That's true, Eric. That's very true. It just helps the flow of the show. We can drive it and do whatever, but again, you guys are the passengers, and you'll let us know where we need to go if we're sort of lingering on something too long or not long enough. Like Vinny stopping in, figuring out his computer, how to work it, first day.
Apple.
Steve Jobs and Steve Carell and whoever else. So remember, dislike, comment, subscribe. If you're sending fundage, send it through PayPal, Venmo, crypto wallet, OnlyFans, Discord, money order, well-concealed cash, EMT, Western Union, direct bank transfer. Any way you can ship money, we'll gladly accept it. Just send us money. That's it, and that's all. And everybody in the U.S. have a good Thanksgiving. Safe travels if you're traveling. All that stuff. Take pictures. Your family. If you guys are all getting together with family, spend an extra couple minutes putting together a photo. You just don't know when people will go. You want to have something, because last Friday, guy in town, one of my, I won't say a good friend, but anytime he was at the store, we'd talk for 20, 30 minutes. I'd talk to him in the aisles. I'd make sure to carry his groceries out, and we'd talk at his truck for another 15, 20 minutes. 48 years old, COVID. 15-year-old son, like a 24-year-old daughter, and just a jolt last Friday when one of the coworkers texted, and because her cousins married him and said he died, and I'm like, what? So, as much of an inconvenience as it is, in the moment, taking a picture, oh, how do I look? It doesn't matter. Just get the picture so you have that memory, because you don't know when that time is going to come. And give an extra hug, give an extra I love you, give an extra 10 minutes on the phone, do whatever. But again, have a good Thanksgiving, safe travels. And remember, cards are great in this hobby, and that's Steve, and that is Rick. But the friendships you make, that's what this hobby's really about. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.